MMA debut.
Yeah,
It's kind of fun.
it's exciting and a little nerve-wracking.
Is it nerve-wracking?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not just the same as like stepping in any other ring, and there's
No.
actual nerves, and is there fear?
Yeah, I don't know fear, but it's the nerves that I sort of experienced for my first number of kickboxing fights, just when there's an unknown. So I've got fairly comfortable now in the kickboxing ring. You know, I've closing in on 40 fights now. I'm still nervous when I compete in the kickboxing ring, but this is just different. There's a whole new element to it, and yeah, it's just something new that I don't really know exactly what to expect yet.
Is that what made you want to come over and try to do this? Is that it was something new?
That was definitely part of it.
Yeah.
I've been feeling fairly comfortable in the ring the last number of years in kickboxing, and I just went, you know what, I think I might be ready for a new challenge. Timing wise, it just also made sense because I had a bit of a break between kickboxing fights and nothing that would have been about 11 months out of the ring, so I also want to stay active. But yeah, I definitely wanted to challenge myself in a new way.
If you hadn't have won a Bellator kickboxing title, would you be talking to me right now? Would you have come over to do this right now?
I don't think so. The main goal with Bellator was to get the Bellator kickboxing belt, and when I first signed the contract with Bellator, I did have the option for an MMA fight, but I said, you know what, I want to focus just on that kickboxing belt, and once I've captured that, then I'll look at all the options. So if I didn't have the kickboxing belt, I think I'd still be hunting for it. But
so this MMA thing, it goes back at least what, a couple, 2-3 years, right? When you signed with them.
yes,
I mean, the thought was in your mind at that point, I might want to move over, so let's make sure that we handle this on the front end.
It was there, but because the kickboxing was the priority for me, I would do a little jiu-jitsu, and then the kickboxing fight or the camp would start, and I'd stop doing jiu-jitsu. And I did that 2 or 3 times and just realized, you know what, I can't put the proper time in for jiu-jitsu right now. I can do it a little bit here and there, but I'm not going to get great at it. So when this opportunity came along, it was just, you know what, I have 3 months, I have to get ready, and let's put a lot of energy into learning all the groundwork again.
So, I mean, what's the change like for you then when you just get up every day to go to work, and train, knowing that you got to do everything now instead of focusing on one primary thing?
It was different. It was fun in the aspect that I actually had to learn something new. That was fantastic. It challenged my brain because really doing kickboxing for me is only 2 things. It's just get the timing down and get my cardio up. And if I can accomplish those 2 things, I'm pretty much fight ready. So for this one, it was a whole new aspect of learning the ground game, getting the wrestling, and just really challenging myself. So it was an exciting but also stressful camp.
Cardio obviously will come into play in major ways in MMA. So if that's something you've always been doing anyways, do you feel like maybe half the battle's already won?
The cardio is always a big aspect, of course. That's one of my primary goals during a training camp, is to make sure I'm cardio ready. But again, it's different in MMA. I've noticed even in the sparring that the arms fatigue in a different way, and the heart rate gets challenged in a different way, just because you end up doing that wrestling or that pushing, which I'm not used to. So yeah, I did have to prepare in a slightly different way, and aside from that, really the prep was just making sure that my takedown defense was as on point as I can get it, and the submission defense as well.
What were you able to learn about your opponent? Were you able to find out much about him? He's making his pro debut too, so I'm going to assume there's not a ton out there about what he brings to the table.
Yeah, I'm always able to find something. That's a big part of my training camp as well, is understanding who my opponent is, what they bring, and prepare for their weaknesses and their strengths. So I watched his last fight, which was actually fairly recent, and trained accordingly for it, and hopefully everything works out the way I think it will.
Do you have kind of any pie in the sky dream in mind of how you want to make your MMA impression on the world?
No. I know that the bar is set quite high. Raymond Daniels is the kickboxing world champion. He went out and put on a spectacular KO, but that's never a concern for me. I've gone through my whole career just, I'm going to go in and I'm going to fight and I'm going to take it round by round. I'm not concerned about getting a massive KO in the first minute or something like that. It's a new thing. I'm going to go in and I'm going to be cautious and safe, and if I get a KO, it comes. If it doesn't, I'll be happy either way, as long as I win. That's always the goal, just win.
Is this something you want to toggle back and forth between the two, or do you have to see how things play out on Friday before you make a decision?
I think I will go back and forth because, like I said, I've enjoyed challenging my brain in a new way, and it's something that you don't get too much in the fight world when you get quite proficient at the sport. You just go in, you get your timing, your cardio. That's really it. So I do like the new challenge. I like having some nerves back. So sometimes where I'm going, this feels terrible, and I don't enjoy the nerves, but it is good to have them, and I think swapping back and forth between the two sports will be really good for me.